Mike's turn. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats and we will begin imminently. Hi. Let's give it up for Winston. Silence. That's good. All right, let's get going. If you didn't hear me, I just want to say let's give a round of applause to Winston, who's here from Scarborough, playing his steel drums. Thanks, Winston. That was great. Please have your seat. Thank you all for joining us today to mark the beginning of Black History Month, a month to celebrate Black excellence in our community across the country and around the world. We're going to begin by acknowledging that the Anishinaabe lands on which we live and work are the traditional and treaty territories of the Chippewas of Georgina Island, as well as many other nations whose presence continues continues here to this day. As the closest First Nation community to Aurora, we recognize the special relationship the Chippewas have with the lands and water of this territory. They are the water protectors and environmental stewards of these lands, and as a municipality, we join them in these responsibilities. We further acknowledge that Aurora, as part of the treaty lands of the Mississaugas and Chippewas, recognized through Treaty Number 13, as well as the Williams Treaty of 1923. A shared understanding of the rich cultural heritage that has existed for centuries and how our collective past brought us to where we are today will help us walk into a better future. I've been told by Fiona that we need to be out of here around 3:15. So we're going to try to keep this agenda as tight as we can. And we're going to begin with Mr. Mayor Tom Rackes to bring greetings on behalf of the municipality.
Thank you, Phil. Well, good evening or good afternoon, everyone. It's great to see so many familiar faces here for this very special occasion. I'd like to start by thanking my council colleagues. I see Councillor Luis Gardner and Gilland here. Thank you very much for joining us today, as well as representatives from both provincial and federal governments. We have MPs Tony Van Bynen and Leah Taylor-Roy, as well as our MPPs Don Gallagher-Murphy, as well as and Minister Michael Parsa. Thank you for joining us here today. And of course, I want to give a very special acknowledgement to all our Black community members and members of the Aurora Black Community Association and the Aurora Black Caucus. Thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for providing our entire community with opportunities to learn about Black history and achievement here in Aurora and across the country. I'm incredibly proud to raise the Pan-African flag here at Town Hall. And I'm extremely proud that we have it here in our chamber once again. And I think that, I don't know if we're the only ones that have ever had it in their chamber, but I'm extremely proud of that. And I throw it out there to all other municipalities. It's time that the flag is in every chamber. So I'm very, very proud of that. And I'm so proud that this year, there are Black History Month banners flying high along Wellington, highlighting Black community members who have made an impact in our community. If you have not seen them, please stop, take a look. It's incredible. We have a few of the examples up there. Black history is Canadian history. And Black History Month has taken on increasing importance to us as a municipality. That's why we continue to support initiatives led directly by Black community members. But as much as Black History Month is a time for celebration, it's also a time for reflection. The reality is that Canada has a history of anti-Black racism, and communities and individuals continue to face systemic racism today. Battling racism often requires us to look deeply within our hearts and challenge ourselves, our family members, friends, and colleagues. When we hear or see racism and hurtful stereotypes being used, or when we identify barriers to inclusion, it's incumbent on all of us to speak up and stand up. It is now my honor to read the town's Black History Month proclamation. Whereas Black History Month recognizes the contributions that people of African and Caribbean descent have made to Canada, shaping its identity. And whereas Black History Month was first recognized in Ontario in February 1993, marking the 200th anniversary of the passage of legislation prohibiting the importation of slaves into Upper Canada. And whereas the United Nations proclaimed 2015 to 2024 the decade for people of African descent, an important step in the international community recognizing the people of African descent represent a distinct group whose human rights must be promoted and protected. And whereas Black History Month continues to provide the town of Aurora with the opportunity to celebrate the contributions and vital role that Canadians of African descent have made to strengthen the social and cultural mosaic of our community, province, and country. Therefore, be it resolved that on behalf of the corporation of the town of Aurora, I, Mayor Tom Marakis, do hereby proclaim the month of February 2024 as Black History Month in the town of Aurora. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for being here. I did also want to recognize all our men and women in uniform here today as well. Thank you very much for joining us. And thank you for everything that you do for our communities. We appreciate everything that you do. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So next, we're going to ask Winston to come back up, and he's going to regale us with a version of O Canada. And if I can ask everybody to stand up, and we're actually going to be doing the singing. So hopefully you remember the words. Winston, whenever you're ready. Thank you, Winston. That was amazing. We all need more steel drum in our life. Thank you. Next, I'm going to ask if Minister Michael Parsa, MPP for Aurora, Oak Ridges, and Richmond Hill, can please come forward and say a few words.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much. I also want to take this opportunity to thank all the men, the women and men in the uniform who serve and protect our communities all across the province and our great country. Thank you so much for everything that you do, and all those on the front lines who are often away from their families and loved ones to serve and protect all of us. So thank you so much for everything you do. And here joined with my good colleague here, who's not a stranger to anyone, the MPP for Newmarket Aurora, Don Gallagher Murphy. And we have a greeting on behalf of the Premier and the Government of Ontario. I want to start off by thanking the President, Fiona Durrett, my good friend. Thank you so much to you for your leadership and all the volunteers here at the Aurora Black Community Association for organizing this annual flag raising ceremony and inviting us. We have come together today to commemorate the Black History Month. The Black Liberation Flag was designed in 1920 by the members of the UNIA as a marker of freedom, of pride, and political power of Black individuals. I would like to acknowledge the International Decade of People of African Descent, which was declared by the United Nations General Assembly in January of 2015. And even though this decade will come to an end on December 31st, 2024, our fight for justice and recognition of African descent, it will be and is an ongoing effort. In 2011, the United Nations General Assembly declared the International Year for People of African Descent with the aim to promote national and international efforts to ensure the full enjoyment of economic, of cultural, social, and political rights for people of African heritage. By embracing diversity and unity, we can overcome challenges and create communities, countries, and a global community where everyone feels fair and everyone is able to live in freedom and in justice. We need to continue our support of one another and recognize that our differences is the foundation of our shared success. And that's why I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today. Your presence is a statement. I want to thank once again the Aurora Black Caucus and Black community and all of you for being here and for helping us celebrate Black History Month and to share our commitment to making sure that every single member of our community is valued and is respected. And I want to just end with a quote from somebody who's very important to me. You've often heard me quote him, and that's the great Nelson Mandela. And he said, you know, challenges are always impossible until they're done, and then they're not. Thank you so much for having me.
If I may ask our members of parliament, Mr. Van Bynen and Ms. Taylor Roy, if you could also join us up here. And I think, Fiona, we want to do a photo opportunity. Would you like to join?
Thank you so much, Phil, for being an amazing MC. I do believe that one of the things that's important to me for Black history is that we can sit down and rest. So it's very important to me that we can. So thank you, Phil, for being there. Also, I think everybody gets to understand my style by now. I don't go with the status quo, or whatever we call that word. And so we might expect certain order in certain people. And so why I asked the leaders to come up, our theme is forward together and forward for all. We can't keep the way we've been doing and get change. And so as they stand here, these are people that stand with us and always support us and are friends to us. And so I really wanted to just pause for them to come, because when it comes to the event, we want more than the speaking, and their presence enough is a power of their dedication for us in spite of their words. And so I wanted to pause to let them just come, be acknowledged, even if they're not having a mic today. As we step outside, Leah will be speaking out there just before we raise the flag. But I just want to say that because a lot of times we look for symbolic things or how things have been done 50 years ago last year, but this is ABC. And what we do is community where nobody is, above any. So again, thank you so much. And if you already took the photos, you're good to go. All right, so that's what we wanted to do. I see Tony Van Bynum has something in his hand that are you presenting us with something? No? Okay. Okay, perfect. Otherwise, I'll be like,
Only if you need it.
all right, so we're gonna need that right now. But thank you so much. I really wanted to point that out because this is community. And so thank you so much.
Thanks again. And Fiona, don't go too far because, and I do realize these are meant to be on the screen here are the banners that that the mayor mentioned are up on the streets and Fiona's going to talk about in a minute, but they're supposed to be rotating. So I think I'm going to go and maybe just,
Find the gentleman. We changed the time. Again, good evening officially to everyone. Thank you so much for coming out. We changed the time for when we did the flag raising. Every year we did it at 6:30 at night. Last year, the fire truck came with their power and light to give us light outside as we raised the banner at 6:30. And so not even my family is here today, but they understand and we will be celebrating more on the 3rd. I'm just going to call up those who are with me to come and stand here. So Ron Kelman and Officer Jody and Morrison and Alvin Morrison, can you please come up, please? Thank you. We also missing Milton Hart, Dr. Conville, of course, in Jamaica, because he don't want to winter. He's about 89 years old, so I can't blame him. And I just want, are they, okay, perfect. George Sankets is in Florida, so all everybody gone for the sun. But when I thought about this last year, I thought, it's important, we see the flag raised all the time for those when it's Remembrance Day, who have gone. And I'm like, how can the simplest thing that we do be still recognized in our community? And then I thought about Rosa Parks, and all she did was sit down. But it was a powerful evolution for change that brought us to where we are today. So I wanted to thank and honor these amazing people in our community. And I'm going to read what I wrote down as to why it was necessary, including Ron Kelman. I can never call in anybody in the community and Ron is not there. And so we want to thank him, also the first person to bring road tennis into our school board here into Canada, into York region. And then Aurora has the opportunity and the privilege to be the town where these things are happening. So there's a lot of richness in our culture and our contribution to our town. So I wrote down here that the visible display of Black representation in all communities, particularly those that are predominantly white, is critical for several reasons. First, it fosters a sense of inclusivity, of belonging, Black individuals within our community. So when people from diverse backgrounds see them and they're represented in various aspects of the community life, they feel acknowledged and valued and feel a part of here. We are not visitors to Aurora nor Canada. We are Canadian. And when we start acting like it, I went to visit a business place today because Ron forced me to go in. And I said, Ron, I went there last year and I invite them and they weren't very receptive. So I'm not going back. And that's what's pride, of course. I'm like, what? And he's like, come. I'm like, oh, Ron, I'm not going. He hang up and he's gone that way. I'm like, okay, I figure I have to go. So I walked in, they're looking at me and I said, hi. And I said, well, I emailed you last year, didn't reply. I mean, I'm always going to tell you the truth, right? So I just said it. And she's like, oh, it may have gone to the junk. So I stand there and we're talking. Long story short, the husband and I got into a conversation. And he found out that we have the same vision because he withdrew himself from the Black community because he was not able to identify with some of the labels that Black people put on themselves. We walk as if we don't belong. We keep asking for permission as if we don't belong. We're not putting our kids in winter sports as if we're not Canadians. You get what I'm saying? So after he spoke to me a few minutes, you realize, oh, so he get more and happy and his seat's warm. He said, took my number and we will converse. The point is, we're not homogeneous. Because you're Black and I'm Black, we don't have the same values. We don't think the same way. We don't seek the same fights. So you can see New Market African Caribbean Association, you can see ABC, while our work will lead to the same thing, it's done differently. So when we see visible representation, it challenged those stereotypes. When we see officers here, the first Black couple in the OPP's life to come in together as one and working as a family. And that's a big deal. I believe, Lynette, you did a featuring on them. Do you remember? For Neighbor. Yeah, these are the people and their dedication and work. There's a lot of stigma goes with the uniform, but the uniform is very important to me because the same police that we say defund or don't help, they are the one that we're saying why they show up late in our Black community when we're being shot. So we have to use common sense and make good decisions. So I thank you and I wanted to honor them. Can you make sure their banners are up here, please? We want to honor you and honor Ron for your work, for bringing road tennis. I can't wait for them to see what's coming and what you have work. Thank you. Do not despise what they say the days of small beginnings. And so that's where I would leave it. I want to thank you guys so much again. When it comes to the team, we are going to be planning Black History Month for Friday, for Saturday. So we're trying to get out of here. And I probably talk way too long that and then I plan to. But Bobby and Alexandra, can you come up here for a minute and stand with these two people, please? I could not have done it with without these two amazing ladies. I call them, I knock them. I can't do it without them. So we work to make this happen, and Daniel is not here from the town as well. I don't remember who else working with Daniel on the banner, but if you're here, if you're here from the town and you work on the banner, please, oh, you have the camera, you can't come over here. But we would love to see, because this is what Forward Together look like. We're not going to look all the same. And so, today I was talking to a gentleman who posted something on Facebook, and he said somebody else posted something on Facebook about them last year. We can't do that and move forward. We cannot do these things and move forward. We have to rise above certain situation and work together. So when we look at community, this is what it looks like to me. And some of the white faces are missing, but they're working with me to make things happen. And that's, for me, is Black history, Canadian history, moving forward together and forever. So take a moment to congratulate them, take a photo of them, and we want to just get going with raising the flag now. But I just want to say thank you. The rest is coming on the 3rd. Its gala is booked out. I can't leave the mic without saying the amazing Frank Stranak donated one of his amazing, is it sorry? How do you car to be at our gala for auction. So we're moving stones and we're digging dirt and we're building relationship. And that's what it is for me. Lastly, I would say something that somebody insulted me and I was in bed crying, and my 2 kids, I guess they heard me, came and lie on me. My big son is 22 and I thought, okay, get it together. Your kids are worried about you. But that's because I wake up to a text message after sharing my vision for the gala, and somebody messaged me and say, Fiona, I've been thinking, why do you have white people in this part of the presentation? Let the white people sit down while we show them ourselves. I didn't know what to say after that. I never replied to that message because it hurt me so much. It hurt me so much that people are still missing the message even till today. So take a look at the faces of the people that are working with us. Some of them are behind you. We will never look the same, but this is Canadian history. And you don't have to stand with me and stand with my vision, because there's a place for everybody. But my vision for the town is to move forward together, and we're not going to always look the same. So thank you.
Okay, everyone, I think we're going to head outside. If you have your jacket, we'll grab that. We're going to take this amazing flag and we're going to hoist it right now.